Hey guys, this is Jennifer, and this is the Jennifer Allwood Show, the podcast where you learn how to create a beautiful home and build a creative business. Grab a cup of coffee, find a cozy spot in the house, and let's chat. I'm excited you're here. Well, welcome back to the podcast, my friends. I'm super excited to have you here again this week. You guys always just showing up week after week to listen, and sharing this podcast with your friends and family is just such an honor. So thank you. We are going to talk today in podcast number 83 about the number one thing that you can do to boost your online sales. So listen, every month I have the honor of coaching over 2,000 entrepreneurs in the online space. And so in my inner circle, we are talking all month, every month, on how to build your business using social media and your email list. So how to build your online platform so that you have more people that you can sell to, right? Well, the number one challenge that most entrepreneurs have is that they just need more sales. They literally just need more sales. There are even some people with tens of thousands of Facebook followers and still just hearing crickets when it comes to people actually buying. So we're going to talk today about the number one thing that I instruct all of these business owners to do in order to get more sales in the online space. So are you ready? Are you ready? Real quick first though, I'm going to read a review from iTunes, because every time you guys go over to iTunes and you leave a review, it's like you're blowing fairy dust in my direction. It's like you're just blowing me kisses from heaven. And it just, number one, it just blesses my socks off. Number two, it's so helpful in terms of getting podcast sponsors and ratings on iTunes. And so thank you. And so I just want to give a quick shout out to Marley Dice at A Brick Home. So here's what Marley says. She says, Jennifer is a breath of fresh air. Her wit and personality shine in every episode, and her advice is always spot on. I recommend the Jennifer Allwood Show to all of my fellow home decor blogging friends. Thanks for sharing your talents with us, Jennifer. Well, Marley, thank you for sharing my podcast with your blogging community. I appreciate you more than you know. So friends, if you have a chance to slip on over to iTunes and to leave the Jennifer Allwood Show a review, we would be much appreciative. And if after you leave the review, you take a screenshot of it, do me a little favor, send it to me in a DM and Instagram, and I will absolutely take the time to send you a quick Instagram video back, okay? So we are going to talk about the number one thing you can do to boost your online sales. And I think that most people are thinking it's something super sexy, like a really intuitive sales funnel, or the copy that you use in an email, or it's, making sure that you get your page verified on Facebook. Look, you guys, it is none of that. It is such a simple thing that most people overlook. So the number one thing you can do to boost your sales online is to increase your know, like, and trust factor. Let me say that again. The number one thing you can do to boost your sales is to increase your know, like, and trust factor online. And so most people are like, okay, what is that? Essentially, it's this. It is allowing your online audience to know who you are so that they can decide if they like you. And once they've made that decision, then they can determine if they trust you, and the sale follows after that. So I'm going to give you the very best example of this that I can. And I think most of you will get this instantly. So this is not going to be a long podcast, my friends, but it is powerful. So I do hope that you'll listen in it. Okay. So when I was itty bitty, when I was little, I spent a lot of time with my grandparents. And most of you knew or know that I grew up in a very small community in rural Iowa. So stayed with my grandma and grandpa Beeson, loved them dearly. They were some of the most special people in my world. And so in the small town that grandma and grandpa lived in, there were two grocery stores. Okay. And so when it would come time to go to the grocery store, it was always interesting to me, grandma's reasoning for why we went to the store that we went to. Okay. So let me tell you what it wasn't. When grandma was deciding which store we were going to buy groceries, it was not the store that had the best coupons. We were not going to the store that had the best prices. We were not going to the store that had the best window presentation. We were not going to the store that was even closest and most convenient to her house. No, we were going to the store where grandma liked the store owner. Okay? Or I can flip that, if you will, because grandma was a little spicy. And so we sometimes didn't go to the store where grandma didn't like the owner. Does that make sense? And so back then, back in the 70s, business in the 70s was at a very personal level. Grandma bought groceries from people that she knew, liked, and trusted. Okay, so this is how business was done in the 70s. Now I want you to just fast forward in your mind 40 years to the year 2018, we are now residing. Okay, you guys, sales still happens in the very same way in the online space. It's still exactly the same. People still buy from people they know, like, and trust. They just are now doing it online instead of in, the small town America that I grew up in. Does that make sense? Now, in the year 2018, our social media platforms, they're our stores. They are our stores. My Facebook page with 340,000 people is essentially my store. Our websites are our store. It's basically where people come to shop around. Am I right? Our social medias are our stores. So we can have coupons for, get a fancy little pop-up that comes up on your website, get 10% off your first order. Where we can have the coupons. We can have great cover photos on our Facebook page. We can have free shipping deals. We can have whatever else that sounds really snazzy. But the bottom line is, if we don't have that know, like, and trust factor, we are missing out on sales. I want you to think of wherever you currently live. And even though Starbucks, has a huge following for people that are coffee connoisseurs, is that even what you call them? Coffee connoisseurs. Look, can I just be really honest with you? This is a total side note, but I like plain Jane Keurig coffee. And my favorite right now is from a company called Joe's. And we have the hardest time finding this stuff online. If you know how to get a hold of Joe's coffee, by the way, please let me know. We find it at really obscure places like TJ Maxx and Marshall's. Don't ask me why I love Joe's coffee, but I do. And I love their slogan, which is Joe knows. And I don't know, for some reason that makes me giggle. So total side note there. So anyway, yes, Starbucks is the coffee giant, but think about all those coffee shops that are in your local community that people love to frequent because they know the owner. They know the people that work there. They go in because they like how it feels. They like conversation with people. They like people knowing who they are and knowing their name to write on that cup of coffee. Am I right? So here's the lesson that I want you to get from this. If you and one of your competitors online have all things equal, okay? You have the same price. You basically have the same product. You have, both of you have really decent presentation of the product on your sales page. They both are at a great angle with good lighting, and pretty much all things are equal. We're comparing apples to apples here. The person that's going to get the sale is the person who is known, liked, and trusted. Okay, so you can have the same boutique clothing. You can have the same, or similar online course. You can have a very similar style of painting and a painting membership group. But across the board, what's always going to win out is if you have that know, like, and trust factor. And if you have really invested into building that with your online community. So that leads us to the next question, all right? The next question is always, okay, so Jennifer, I hear your story about your grandmother. I totally get what you're saying because maybe you're spicy too, or your grandmother was spicy too, so you understand how she made decisions of where she was going to shop, right? So the next question is always, how do we build the know, like, and trust factor? And this is where the rubber actually meets the road, because what I find happens is that so often business owners will tell me they need more sales. Jennifer, I need my business income to grow. I need more sales. And when I tell them what's necessary for that to happen, they're like, okay, but yeah, I'd rather have that fancy email funnel, or I'd rather have that great strategy, for sending out newsletters. And while all of that matters, the truth is, in order to build that know, like, and trust factor, you are literally going to have to do some things that probably get you out of your comfort zone. They take you out of your comfort level, and they require some time and effort from you. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. And so it's very difficult when I hear entrepreneurs say, Jen, I really want to build my business. And I'm like, well, are you building a community? Because if you're building a community and people know, like, and trust you, sales will automatically follow. So let me give you, if you've got a pen and paper, just some real practical tips, okay? These are a few things that you can do to up your know, like, and trust factor almost immediately. All right. Number one, I want you, when you're on social media, to be showing up as yourself and not just showing up as your business. Listen, let's say that you are a photographer. If you are just always showing up, showing great pictures of family portraits that you've taken or whatever, while yeah, that's lovely. If I'm trying to decide between two photographers who have very equal quality of work, who both are local to me, so they can both really take me to, similar locations for shoots. The way I'm going to decide who I'm using for my photography is who do I know, like, and trust. And the only way that I can figure out if I know them, if I like them, and if I trust them is if they're actually showing up as themselves on social media. So for that example of the photographer, listen, it's great that you're showing family photos that you took over the weekend of precious family standing up on a bay of hail, looking adorable for a wedding shoot or whatever. That's great. What I also want you to do is I want you to be doing a Facebook Live where you're on your way to the photo shoot and you're talking about why you're shooting at 4:00 in the afternoon instead of 9:00 in the morning. And you're talking about the location that you selected. And you're talking about other things that would perhaps be interesting. And the reason I love Facebook Live, and we don't always have to show up just on Facebook Live, but here's one of the reasons why I love Facebook Live. First of all, if you haven't listened to one of my podcasts about Facebook Live, you are missing it. In the show notes on my website, I will link over to, I have a couple of podcasts that have to do with Facebook, and I will link to both of those. And right now, my podcast editor is listening to this, and he's thinking, Jennifer, how come you don't know the episode numbers? Well, I don't know, Chris, because I just thought of it literally as I'm talking. So I apologize in advance. But I know that I have a few episodes in my arsenal that have to do with Facebook. So listen, Facebook has literally said, if you will do a Facebook Live, we will show that video to 6 times the audience that we normally would a normal post. And so people will hear that and they'll be like, well, okay, sure, that's fine that we get more reach on those posts. But what they forget is this. When you show up in a video of any kind on social media, whether that's an Instagram story, whether that's a Facebook Live, whether that's even a pre-recorded video that you put on IGTV. And by the way, I did an IGTV episode or an Instagram training here on my podcast a few episodes ago. Please go look for that one also. Anytime you're showing up in video form, people are getting used to hearing your voice. They're getting used to seeing the little nuances that you do. So the way that you kind of, play with your hair, which is one of the things that I know that I do that irritates some not very kind Facebook followers on occasion, and they'll feel the need to point it out. And then I'll feel the need to point back out. We all have little nervous habits that we do. And if you'd like to get on your Facebook page in front of almost 350,000 people, I would love to look at the little tics that you have. No, I don't honestly say that to them, but people will let me know, you play with your hair too much. I know. And there's much worse habits that could be done. So what I'm trying to point out here, I'm getting off on a rabbit trail, but what I'm trying to point out is that when you show up on video, people will start to notice the way you say things. For years, Ava and I have called the Hobby Lobby the Hobbly Lobbly because she couldn't say Hobby Lobby when she was a little girl. So we've always talked about the Hobbly Lobbly. And there's different ways that you pause in your sentences and you put emphasis on some words. And basically, when your audience hears your voice and they watch you doing videos, they will start saying things like, Jennifer, I hear you in my head. Or I hear you telling me, I think to myself, what should Jennifer do? Because they are becoming to where they feel like they really know you. One of the best compliments you can get on your social media, my friends, is, or when people meet you in real life, is that, oh my gosh, you're exactly the same in real life as you are on social media. I mean, what a compliment is that? That means you've been super transparent on your social media, right? So showing up as yourself and not always as just what it is that you do is so refreshing on social media. And some of you are thinking to yourself right now, I can already hear the argument in your voice. Well, I want to be professional and nobody really cares, about what we're having for dinner at my house. Well, I didn't say be posting about what you're having for dinner. But I did say that some of your posts need to be things that don't relate to your business. People are tired of being sold to on social media. And if you get nothing else but that out of this entire podcast, that is worth tweeting, okay? People are tired of being sold to on social media. So stop talking about your business all the time. Share some things that have a touch of vulnerability to them. You guys hear me and know that I talk about my faith often on my social media pages. And I know for some of you, you're thinking, oh gosh, that's so scary. It's so scary to mix faith and business. It's actually not for me. If somebody told me, Jennifer, you cannot talk about God or Jesus ever again in your business, now that would be super difficult for me. Okay, so sharing your vulnerability, talking about things that make you feel a little bit exposed, that's okay. That's how you're going to build relationship. Think about the real life relationships you have. If you never sat down with your BFFs and had real life conversations about anything of depth, how deep would that friendship and that relationship actually be? So if you are looking for more sales, I'm telling you, invest in your community. And the way you invest in your community is by going deeper with them in terms of relationship. And the way you go deeper in terms of relationship is by quitting talking about sales all the time. Share some things about your life that have nothing to do what it is that you sell. Listen, I know that it is so easy to hide behind your business. It is so easy to hide behind your page. I'm telling people in my inner circle all the time that when you step out from hiding behind your page, it feels so vulnerable. It feels like you're standing on the internet naked. But that's when people are going to show up. You will automatically repel some people. But you will also magnetize the right people to you and to your business, okay? So stop just showing up as your business. Start showing up as yourself. Share some vulnerability. And I want to tell you another thing that you can do immediately to start building your know, like, and trust factor. And that is to actually be taking time each and every single day. Every day, to be responding to the people that are showing up for you on social media. So this means getting on your Facebook page and actually responding back to comments. This means getting into your Instagram, into your DMs and responding. And don't forget you have that other folder in your Instagram, my friends. And if you don't know where that is, I'm not sure if I talked about it on my Instagram training here on the podcast or not. But if you're in Instagram, and you have a business, there is a little arrow up at the top. My little arrow right now, usually it's sitting right at about 20 people that I need to respond to. When you open that up, there's actually a button that says other, and it's in blue. And mine always says 99 plus. And if you click on that, these are people that you're not, Instagram thinks are not relevant to you. And so they put all of their messages in an other folder. Friends, go find that immediately. I bet you too have over 100 messages in there. And if you will take the time to respond back to those people, you are instantly like solidifying more of a deeper relationship with you and that person. And sometimes sales in business are literally built one comment at a time, one DM at a time, one response back at a time. And I will take this one step further and even give you just one more little tip. This is the kind of stuff that usually I only share in my inner circle, which, by the way, is reopening in September. If you are not on that wait list, you need to be. Go to jenniferallwood.com/inner circle to get on that wait list. But listen, this is a tip that I give them too. If you want to really blow people's socks off, when they send you a message, like let me read one of my messages that I have waiting, okay? I literally on my Instagram last week had a little headband that was a hair braid, okay? And so several people have been messaging me. Okay, I say several, let's say 100, saying, did you do that braid or is it a headband? Okay, so instead of me just typing back to this Instagram account, which is HC Bigelow, instead of me just typing back, girlfriend, that was a headband. Instead, I am going to hold down the video and respond back to her being like, girlfriend, it was totally a headband. I'm pretty sure I got it at the Sally Beauty place. And that will freak her out. And she will be, happy, I hope, and I assume that she got a video from me instead of just a comment. And this is what has happened. The next time that HC Bigelow is thinking about hiring a business coach, hopefully she'll get into my inner circle. The next time somebody's asking her, hey, do you know of anybody online that teaches people how to decorate their homes or that teaches creative people how to make money online? Hopefully she will remember me. And she won't remember the people that never responded to her, that she heard crickets from. Does that make sense, my friends? It takes time to build this know, like, and trust factor with your community, but I'm telling you what, it is absolutely worth it. And if you are struggling with sales, it may be because you are struggling with building relationship online. Until you build that know, like, and trust factor, the sales may still continue to be rough for you to attain. So I encourage you to put time and effort into building relationships with the people who are already showing up for you. Sometimes we think we need more people following us, more people following us, more people following us. And sometimes at the end of the day, the truth is you just need to take care of the people that are already there. You just need to somehow really cultivate that relationship so that the next time you go to sell something, that sale is much easier to the people who have already showed up for you online. I hope that this was super helpful today. Listen, I know because I am a walking testimony of this. You do not have to be the best in your industry to be super duper successful. Sometimes you can be super duper successful just because people like you. Just because you've sowed into relationships in the online space, much like my grandmother was sewing into grocery stores where she liked the owner. It's the same thing. And when you sow into online relationships, you will often reap those rewards when it comes time for you to have a sale. So I hope that this was super helpful today. We do reopen my inner circle where I talk about strategy for building your social media at the end of September. And I would love to invite you to join me there in that group. Even if you are not a creative, listen to me. Even if you are not a creative person, if you need to build your social media, your Facebook account, your Pinterest followers, your Instagram, if you need a better strategy for how to do all of those and still get things done through the day, or if you need help building your email list, I want you to go right now and get on my wait list. Okay. It's at jenniferallwood.com/inner circle. My inner circle will reopen at the end of September. It is literally $47 a month, you guys, for 4 trainings every single month. It is by far one of the most powerful groups I have seen online with everything from entrepreneurs who haven't even named their business yet, but they're getting ready to, all the way through to people making 6 figures on a monthly basis are in my coaching group. All right. So I want you to join me there. Go to jenniferallwood.com/inner circle. And I also would love to hear back from you about this podcast today. And I'd love to know how you're using that know, like, and trust factor to build your own business. You can always send us an email to podcast@jenniferallwood.com. We love the feedback. So there you are, my friends. I hope that this was super helpful for you and your business. If you do not own a business, but you like the sound of my voice, and sometimes I have a tendency to help lull babies to sleep, which is a comment I receive often. Do me a blessing and forward this to a small business owner that you know who maybe could use some encouragement by way of her business. Okay. So bless you, my friends. Until next week, stay creative. Bye-bye. Hey friend, thank you so much for listening to the podcast again this week. I'm so honored that you're here and that you just listen week in and week out and that you share the Jennifer Allwood Show with your friends and family. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Hey, don't forget that you can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, or if you're an Android user, go download the Stitcher app and you can subscribe there so that you know every single week when a new episode releases. Also, if you have any time to leave us a review, these reviews are super important in getting guests for the show and sponsors for the show. And so we'd appreciate it if you have just a second to leave us a review. That would be amazing. Thank you guys again for being here. And until next week, stay creative.